Hello, everybody, and welcome to this year's version of ACT What's Happening. And this year, the play at the Wheeler Opera House is none other than Company. You maybe haven't heard of it, but we're going to tell you all the secrets. And let me introduce my guests to you first. Far right is Jeff Schlepp, who is this year's director and a person who's been involved with ACT for how many decades?
Oh, 35 years.
35 years. Yeah. And right next to him is Nina Gabbianelli, who's a cast member and who is probably a familiar face to all of you audience members. Nina's, as I said, one of the actors in the cast. And Nina, how many dozens of shows?
This will actually be 21 years I've been working with ACT, and I think this is my 16th or 17th show.
Unbelievable. That is, what a stellar record you've got.
I'm the lucky one.
Yes. Well, and I'm delighted. I'm so looking forward to seeing you on stage. And a newcomer.
Yes.
Somebody who, thank goodness, stepped up from out of the blue. And this is Julia Whalen. And Julia, am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, you've got it.
All right. And Julia is a cast member and a freshman this year
I am.
with ACT. How's it feeling so far?
It's so great. We have such a welcoming, safe artistic environment that I just feel so welcome, and I'm lucky to be here. I'm just really happy.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. And you know, ACT welcomes people from the community. If you've never done a show before and had that thought of, well, I wonder if that would be any fun. A, yes. And B, it's a wonderful crop of people. Crop? I don't mean to say crop, but it's a wonderful gathering of kindred souls. And even if you're not a performer, there are all kinds of fun jobs that you can be doing behind the scenes or in the wings or... Anyway, it's great fun. So, Jeff, let's start with you talking about the show. And were you on the deciding committee to choose this Stephen Sondheim production?
I had a little influence. My wife is one of the board members for ACT, and we actually decided to do this show 2 years ago. And the pandemic kind of put a halt to it, of course.
Yes.
And so we've been planning this for a rather long time, particularly myself. I've had blocking done for a long time, and I've reblocked and gone back over things. But since we decided to do the show, I've been excited for this whole time to do this show. It's a wonderfully written show with great music, and it has a real ensemble cast. All the actors, all the parts are very equal, so everybody has their moments on stage. And it's an intimate show, yet at the same time, it's a Stephen Sondheim show. So, you know, as his lyrics are always, it's very complicated in some ways. But it's a delightful look at marriage and relationships, and I'm really excited about it. You know, what makes the marriage, what doesn't make a marriage, how couples get along, how they communicate. And we're fortunate we came up with a wonderful cast for this show. It's you go into auditions never knowing what you're going to get, and I came out the other side with a wonderful cast, and I couldn't be happier. And every rehearsal, I start seeing these sparks come, you know, these little brilliant shines of light of how the show is going to be. So I couldn't be more excited at this point.
Well, you're exciting our TV audience. I'm sure everybody's going to be wondering about tickets. So, Julia, will you tell us where you can get tickets? Not that they're on sale right now, because this show will be on for a couple of weeks prior to the production.
Right.
So where will people be able to acquire tickets?
People can get tickets through...
Do you want some help?
I would love some help, Nina.
So AspenShowTix.com, they're going to be sold through the Wheeler box office. And the performance dates are the first 2 weekends in November. So the 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 12th, 13th, and 14th of November, which are Friday, Saturday night performances and a Sunday matinee in each weekend. And the tickets should go on sale, I would think, within the next week or so.
Great. So get your tickets, get them fast, and what I always like to do is I like to go see it at the beginning. Opening night is my preference. But then I like to go back because don't you agree? The show morphs.
Absolutely.
And it's just fun to see it twice.
Yeah.
You know, when people say to me, why would you go see a play twice? It's like, how many times have you watched the movie Pretty Woman?
Right.
You know, all those movies that you bought so that you could watch it whenever you were home.
Yeah.
So that's a good reason to go see it twice.
And I should mention, though, Jeannie, there are, for those who are concerned about going to the theater, because this is one of the first, outside of Fringe Fest having performed within the Wheeler Opera House, this will be the first basically big show that's gone into the Wheeler Opera House for an extended run. And I do want to say that vaccination is required for ticket purchases, and masks are going to be required for audience members. We, the cast, will not be masked as of today, and so there won't be that complication. But yeah, just want to make sure that everybody stays safe, because that Wheeler has been closed for 18 months, and we are happy to be in, and we are happy to keep it open. So whatever we have to do to keep both the staff, cast, and audience safe and healthy is what the guidelines that we're following.
Great.
Nina, can someone get a negative test and attend the show? Is that a possibility?
I do believe that council came up with approving the 72-hour negative COVID test for ticket sales.
So,
Okay.
there is that option too for
If
the
you're
unvaccinated.
vaccine averse, you can still come and see this show. Great. So, Julia, tell me instead, don't tell me where to get tickets this time. Tell me what it's like to be on stage at the Wheeler Opera House.
Well, I'm so excited. I haven't been to the Wheeler at all. I'm actually new to the Valley. And so I've heard all these things about how beautiful it is and how it's so historic and prestigious. And so we're actually getting into the Wheeler very soon, but my anticipation is rolling, and kind of my journey is I've taken years off of doing things artistically. I just kind of said I needed a break. And then I saw the audition posted for Company, and I just thought, I think it's time. I think it's time to get back in there. I love this show so much. So to do this at the Wheeler, something that's so well known in the area, I'm just like so excited.
Oh, great. And what's the character that you're playing?
Her name is Marta. So Robert, the protagonist, has these 3 girlfriends. He's surrounded by these married couples, but he's got these 3 girlfriends. And what's fun about Marta is she's so exuberant. She's so curious. In New York City, she thinks she is just like the soul of New York. She wants to be the heartbeat of the city. So she's so excitable. She loves all the people coming into the city. She just lives and thrives and breathes in this high-paced energy. So she's kind of Robert's exuberant, sassy kind of girlfriend, and it's just been a real honor to take this on.
That must be so fun.
And her
it
big
is.
song is Another 100 people just got off of the train.
Right.
And she is going to nail it.
Atta girl. Atta girl. Jeff, before we began today, we had a little discussion about the set. Can you kind of share with us how that set came to be? Not came to be so much as the design of it. And
Well, like I said, it's a very intimate show, so we've decided to create at the Wheeler Opera House, create a nightclub setting. And it's the orchestra is going to be on the back of the stage. There'll be kind of cocktail tables that you'd see in a club, and the actors will be seated at these tables for a lot of the show. And then the actual performing, the scene work takes place on the apron. And with this nightclub, we're creating a back window behind the stage to create this illusion that you're looking down a New York street with a backdrop and whatnot. We're very excited, and Lauren Wilder is doing lights, and so we're going to have a lot of lighting effects and LED effects to kind of create that nightclub kind of festive atmosphere.
And should we shout out to Mr. Tom Ward?
Tom Ward is our technical director and designer for the set. And Gordon Wilder is doing the sound for us. So we have a lot of really kind of substantial technical people that have worked with ACT a lot over the years and have worked at the Wheelers. So we're very excited to create this illusion. And like I said, the cast will be on stage a lot, and they'll step in and out of the scenes. And I'm very excited. We have furniture that's going to move on and off with wheels, and it's. I want the show to have a real kind of fluid kind of feel to it, that you just kind of flow from one scene to another without any really big blackouts or major changes. So I'm excited. I really am. I'm anxious to see it all come together. So
I'll bet you are, especially
absolutely.
after all those years.
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is the first time I've taken on a directorship with ACT. I've always been a performer, and in the past, I've helped build sets and whatnot, but basically been on stage, and this is exciting to be a director. And like I said, I have a wonderful cast, and you know, I believe that particularly with community theater, we're doing it for fun. We want to do it to enjoy. You know, we want to do the best we can and have a quality show. But I'm one of these people that feels like it should be a fun experience. You know, and hopefully I haven't yelled yet. You know, not that I'm not capable of yelling, but
Well, don't do it while you got that
well,
microphone
I've got
on,
the
please.
mic on. But I don't think I'm have to. The cast has been so efficient so far, and just wonderful.
Oh, that's great. Like I said, I'm so excited to see it. And Nina, I know that you've done a number of shows, but have you ever had to step in to the shoes of Miss Elaine Stritch before?
No. I'm, of course not old enough to have had that experience
Heavens,
yet, Jeannie.
no, you're a pup, for
Yeah.
Pete's sake.
So yeah, I mean the greats that have played the role of Joanne in this show, because it does have a pretty powerful number in the second act. And Elaine Stritch originated the role. A brilliant comedian, wonderful actress. She's an idol of mine. And currently on Broadway, because there is a current production of company that's actually reopening on Broadway mid-November, just after we close, actually. They reopen on Broadway. They were scheduled
I'm
to
sure
open.
they moved their scheduling to accommodate yours.
Well, yeah.
Like, who would go to New York if they could see it here?
Exactly, you see.
Yeah.
So Patti LuPone is playing the role that I'm currently playing.
I saw the play on Broadway.
Did you
Must
see
have
this
been
one?
in 1972. No, 71.
Wow.
Because it opened in 70. And I saw, Elaine Stritch had
You saw
left.
Ele-
I saw Jane Russell.
Oh, fabulous.
And Jane
No
Russell, if that name just doesn't pop right into your mind, in the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, played opposite Marilyn Monroe, and was, famous for knowing just how to captivate men, and apparently was the catalyst for the invention of this bra that she's famous for, popularizing. And she was Zoftig.
Yes.
And a beautiful singer and very funny.
Yeah.
Well, and to mention, her song is "Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch."
Yes.
And it's a terrific song. And this lady, wow. Okay.
I'm sure. I've seen Nina in a show or two.
Yeah,
Or-
just a couple times.
Couple
On stage, backstage.
Yep.
Front stage.
And driving to and from rehearsals.
True.
Yeah. Apart from that, I don't know you very well.
Not at all.
So Julia, where'd you come from?
I'm originally from the Upper Peninsula, like the border of Wisconsin and Michigan. I went to school at University of Wisconsin-La Crosse for theater performance, and then I spent some time in Creede, Colorado. I worked with their repertory theater. I moved to Denver for about 4 years, and I just kind of did things like house managing shows, a lot of front of house for theater work, and then I moved to the Valley in May. And that's kind of my journey of coming to this wonderful community.
Wow. So before coming here, in that career of yours, what was your favorite role?
My favorite role, I actually got to do, it's a play called One Man, Two Governors. Yes.
Love that show.
Love that show. And I actually got to play Alfie, he's an older gentleman, and it's a lot of stage combat. It's a lot of falling
typecasting.
over. Yeah, a lot of character acting. Yeah, as you can tell, I fit that role very well. just looking at me.
Yeah.
But I got to do a lot of physical work,
Nice.
being like thrown around and, you know, pretend to be hit and things. And it was so challenging and so just really strengthened my own skills in combat. And I don't know, I love the kind of British farce slapstick comedies. So
I saw James Corden in the role.
oh my gosh, what an
Oh, really?
honor.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of been one of my favorite things. But as far as a musical goes, I've been in the ensemble of Chicago, which is always, oh my gosh, an amazing time. Yeah, just a lot of favorites though.
Great. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So, Jeff, apart from directing the show and being a board member, tell me why, or tell us what it is about ACT that brings you back season after season.
ACT is a wonderful organization. It's full of wonderful people. They're very welcoming, and they've been doing shows. This is our it's ACT's 45th season of doing shows in the Aspen Community Theater, and or in the Aspen community, and it's a wonderful organization, and it's been led by Rita Hunter for many, many years, and Rita has kind of taken a back seat at this point. She's still involved with the show, but she's kind of letting the reins be turned over to other people, and I think other people are stepping up quite nicely to keep the tradition of ACT going. But it's a wonderful family organization, and the amount of shows that they have done, the quality shows, is amazing. I mean, Jeannie, you've been in shows. I mean, and some of us has been in a lot of shows, and it's you know, as I look back on my life, it's been, you know, one of the most cherished part of my life and my theater career. You know, I'm just so fortunate to have been involved. It's just a wonderful organization, and I really hope they have another 45 years, to be honest with you.
Oh, I love that sentiment. Yeah.
Yes.
I know for me personally, I feel as though some of my most lasting and most cherished friendships were formed in connection with plays.
Friendship is the key word. You're
Right.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
I have such a nice circle of friends. We don't always hang out together, but we come together to do a show, and it's like the family's back together again.
Exactly. You don't have to be texting all the time.
You know? No, you do not.
And then when it comes time for rehearsals, there we are again. you
Yes,
know.
absolutely. And doing a show is a lot of work. That we're 3.5 weeks into this, and it's falling together nicely. But we have a lot of work to do in the next 3.5
Of course,
weeks.
there's
you know,
work
so.
to do, but it's the kind of work that afterwards you feel like job well done.
It's why we do it.
Yeah,
It's why we
yeah,
do it.
Yeah. So Nina, you're also an improv comedian.
Okay.
Have you brought any of that skill to playing the role of Joanne? I mean, is there does this dovetail?
Sure,
with improv?
always. I mean, having been doing improv for the last few years with consensual improv, I think it has bled into every piece of my life. The whole principle of improv is yes, saying yes and, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
not
and.
denying, not sticking to my own. I'm a very stubborn, strong-willed individual. So for me to be able to say, you know, to try and have that take over a little bit more so that I can take in what other people are giving makes a fuller experience, you know, because I can, you know, there's 18 million ways to do something. And if you only ever do your way, what do you learn, right? So
Words to
definitely
live by.
improv has bled into everything that I do in my daily life, whether it's working or playing or theater or singing. So I mean, I'm a huge fan of improv, which I was terrified of when beginning it.
Isn't everybody?
Right, because
Well,
it's that unknown.
Every other person that's watching improv is thinking, oh, I'm so glad it's not me.
Right, and it's that it's that losing that fear of the unknown, if you would, because we don't know what we don't know, and if you just kind of let it go and roll with it, it's really, you can get some extraordinary outcomes. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
And I should also mention kudos to you in your role with the Aspen Historical Society.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome, because I think that's something that you bring so much life and so much energy to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for the historical and for you to have made a connection is...
Well, it's a great way theater, like people that have had theater training and then go off to do maybe something different or take a break and then come back to it or follow it in a different direction. You know, some people teach, some people, use it in different methods. I use it for education with kids through the Historical Society, but using museum theater. So theater really... for me, has been the key piece of my life. So being able to participate, whether it's on a professional level or whether it's on a community level, it's the joy. Do you know what I mean? That's where the joy in life for me comes. And I just feel like, I'm grateful that there are people out there who want to come and watch. Thank you, because we need you too.
Right.
And there are, great theater goers that's what they get a great joy out of, is sitting in the theater and that community experience, even, of being in a theater where I heard someone from the Guthrie up in Minneapolis said, the piece that live theater is when the audience is all together and their hearts start to beat at the same rate because you're in that experience, everyone enjoying it together. And that, for me, is, the live theater piece that I was missing for a long time, and now we're getting back to. So I'm just over the moon and so excited.
Yes.
That's such an interesting concept.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
I
Because you
remember-
could sit and watch that Pretty Woman movie over and over again, but you could also then be playing a game. You could also be, doing your laundry. You could also be but in the theater, you are captivated, hopefully.
Right.
And that's what our goal is.
Right. You're reminding me, when I worked at the Palace, that here was this group of women and men, but the group of women who worked together, skied together, went out partying together, that we all became biologically connected.
Correct.
That the notion of your heart beating at the same time.
Right.
We were a group that had our biology became
Right.
commensurate with one another. It was pretty funny.
Well, the Crystal Palace, in some ways, really helped nurture and feed Aspen Community Theater. So many Palace people have gone on to do shows with ACT, and the two really have connected. And you're absolutely right. How it's fed each other and how it's created even a stronger bond, I think, is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. Jeff, while you've got the floor, so to speak, why don't you talk about Lynette and her contribution to ACT?
My wife, Lynette Schlepp, she's on the board for ACT, and I don't know how many shows she's done. She's done quite a few over the years, and but as of late, she's been more in the background. She's putting the program together for this show, and you think, oh, a program, not much to it. There's a lot because we do a nice program for our shows, and she does that, and she didn't want the title of assistant director, but she basically is backing me up through this production.
Atta girl.
And we've been married for 33 years, and theater has been our life. It's been our common interest together.
One of your many children?
One of our many children, yes. I think over the years doing theater and doing shows, I've kind of missed a few concerts and a few games along the way. But there's sacrifices you make, and for the theater to do theater, you have to make sacrifices. I mean, the rehearsal process every night for 3 hours, for 5 weeks, it takes a lot of commitment to do a show.
Oh, I understand.
And the cast. It's important that the cast understands that, and this cast has. We went into this thinking we're going to have all these conflicts, but somehow it's all working itself out quite nicely, and
that's
through the
great.
dedication of the actors.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of it is you accommodating people.
Well, I did,
and saying,
you know.
all right, well then we'll work on this while we haven't got
I tweaked
him.
the schedule once I got conflicts, and it's working out pretty good, you know.
That's
and
great.
someone misses. I mean, we all have lives. We, you know, theater is kind of our extracurricular activity, and so, you know, we all have jobs and work and,
Yeah.
and different and families. So it's a lot of juggling to do a play, and I kudos to the cast.
Yeah, yeah, and kudos to you
Well, thank
Yes.
you. I
being
appreciate
the
it.
organizer, because not every director accommodates. So.
You know, it can be. It's challenging. It's challenging.
So before we run out of time, let's each of you remind us in pieces, starting with you, Julia. Tell us some of the important details about this particular production.
The important details of this production, well, is the cast itself, is how phenomenal the cast is.
And when do we get to see that cast?
We get to see it on November 5th, 6th, and 7th, also on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Friday, Saturday nights at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday matinees at 2 o'clock.
Great.
Well done.
And Nina, yes, very well done. Nina, tell us about the acquisition of tickets.
Tickets can be acquired at aspenshowtix.com or visiting the Wheeler box office once they go on sale. So you can order them from the comfort of your own home or go into the box office and purchase tickets. But I wouldn't wait. The Wheeler is,
Yep.
we're going to fill it up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I know that this happens every year, the second weekend.
Yep.
People are they're going to be calling you, Jeff, and they're going to say, Jeff, my best friend, I can't get tickets. So get them for the first weekend, right?
Absolutely.
And Jeff, just a brief little synopsis about how safe we can consider ourselves to be in the audience.
Okay, I think we're following the COVID mandates from Aspen, and the Wheeler Opera House is requiring proof of vaccination to be a audience member. They are going to be required to wear a mask in the audience. I do believe there's like a 72-hour negative test proof that if you aren't vaccinated, you do have that option to attend after you have proof of a negative test. And I might mention the show is probably not recommended for small children. It's not really a PG kind of show, but it's not exactly a G kind of rated show either. There's some mild adult topics involved in the show, and just to follow it, I would say, you know, middle school on up probably would be appropriate to see the show, but this is not for a younger crowd kind of show.
I'm glad that you pointed that out, because even though there are matinees, it's not Peter Pan.
No, it's not. It's not. And like I said, there's nothing risque in this show, but there is a scene where the couples just got done smoking marijuana, for instance, and there is a bedroom scene that alludes to certain things. So it's just, like I said, it's all done very humorously. It's all done it's written very funny, and I guarantee you a lot of laughs with this show.
Yeah, and a lot of really beautiful music.
Oh, you can't.
Fantastic music.
Some of Sondheim's best music. I really can say that.
And do you know that this show is the first time that he won Tonys, not only for best lyrics, but also best music? They used to separate those.
Wow.
And even though he had written the music and the lyrics, he won in both categories. It was nominated for 14 Tonys.
Wow.
Wow.
So if you're thinking, I never heard of that show, that's okay. It's time for you to learn about it.
Oh, you will recognize so much of the music. I
Yeah.
mean, if anything, you will know the music. You're going to go away humming a few tunes.
Yeah, that's my favorite kind of music.
Yes.
So anyway, Jeff Schlepp, Nina Gabbianelli, and Julia Whalen.
You got it.
Julia Whalen. Okay, I've got it imprinted now. Thank you so much for joining us here at GrassRoots, and thank you for joining us at home. And I hope you'll come and see Company at least once, maybe twice. See you next time. I'm Jeannie Walla. It's a pleasure.